This is a video on division algorithms. We're going to start with long division and then move to the short form. So 43 divided by 3 gets rewritten with the 3 out the front. What we're doing here is we're just trying to think of something we can multiply 3 by where the answer is less than 43. Just to get us started, we're going to break down this 43 into smaller parts, is what we're really doing. So I look at this and I say I can multiply by 10. It's just a nice easy number, I'll go with that. And then subtract, I'm breaking this 43 down. So subtraction here, 3, 1, and then I look at that 13 and I think, that's really close to 12. Multiply by 4, 12, and I'm left with 1. Now that that number 1 is less than that number 3, I'm stopping. So I add up the bits I multiplied by and I get 14. Now depending upon where you're up to in maths, you might call that remainder 1, or you might call that 14 1/3. Let's look at it with a larger number, 217 divided by 7. Now, I look at this 217, and if I'm not sure, I could say just 10 again, but I'm going to go with 20. I'm sticking with simple numbers for the moment, quite deliberately. And 20 times 7 is 140. All I've done there is doubled the 7 and then added a 0. So a subtraction down, 7 minus 0 is 0, 1 minus 4, that doesn't seem to work, a bit of top line subtraction maybe, a 1 and a 1 there. 11 minus 4 is 7. And 1 minus 1 is 0. What do we got now? 77. Well, that looks like something we know. I can multiply by 11 and get 77. This time when I subtract, I get 0. So these two things added together are my total answer, 31. Did you see my mistake along the way? Got to pay attention. Okay, so how can we make this process a little bit faster? What we've done here is we've been breaking the number down bit by bit. So the shorter form goes like this, and we're not going to break it down bit by bit. The shorter form of division for exactly the same numbers will start with 43 and divide it by 3, and it goes like this. How many times does 3 go into 4? Once. 3 goes into 4 once, and I write that directly above there in the same units column, or tens column in this case. So it's in the same place value. So that 3 divided by that 4 goes in once in that place value. What's left over is 1, so that's 13. How many times does 3 go into 13? It goes in 4 times with 1 left over. Once again, depending upon where you're up to, that's 14 remainder 1, or 14 1/3. 1/3 because you're dividing by 3. Okay, so let's do that for our 217 and our 7. So 7 does not go into 2. So I consider the whole 21 just there. How many times does 7 go into 21? 3 times. And that ends up in this column. So that's a tens column that's going into just there. I've used the entire 21 now, so I move on to the 7. 7 goes into 7 exactly once. It's equal to 31.